video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make this atmospheric yet simple card using the beautiful fusions on the back, giving us that stunning gold reflection, which is such an easy background to make, along with just the split trees, which are JND418, and the JND419 Deer Scenes 2023, which gives us this stunning deer in large and a beautiful frame around it with the dots in there. A very quick and easy card to make that looks very, very effective. So we're going to introduce you to the dies we're using in this one. And we're going to be using JND418, as I said, split trees, which has these really sort of atmospheric trees of sort of birch trees, realistically, or forest trees. You can change them with foliage, add stamps and leaves and things, but it's split, which means you can just use sections of it or it all together. And then JND419 deer scenes. So you get the deer, and again, it's a different deer scene than I've done before. This one is designed to fit in a 5x5 aperture and is a lot bigger than I've ever done before. But you also get additional deers that you can add on, or you can pop through, because you get these two little lines, which are designed to be little hills. So you can cut those into card and actually slide the deer through as if they're in sort of walking in the hills. And you get this outside die with the double stitch on it, which just gives that beautiful frame. So to get started on this, we're going to start with the background. And I've cut a piece of smooth white stamping card here. And this has been cut to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, because the frame in the main piece is 5 1/2, so that it fits exactly. And I would normally use my medium map, but I'm just going to use a piece of card because it's easier for you to see and shows less shine to make the background. So I'm going to start with Passion Fruit Craft Artist Gold Fusion ink on one of the daubers, and all I'm doing is just swirling it along. Don't worry about it, don't worry about the blend, it will come automatically. So we swirl that along the top quarter, and you see there we get that beautiful gold. And then I'm going to switch to the blueberry, so I'm going to change my sponge and pop a new sponge on to allow me to do the blueberry. So I'm going to again load up with the blueberry, and exactly the same, but we're going to merge it into this purple, and it will just merge itself. And you see there we get those different colours and the clouds of blue, but the two colours merge together beautifully. I'm then going to come in with azure, so I'm just going to change to another sponge and come in with the azure, load that one up, and this time I'm coming across the next quarter, and again letting that run into that dark blue. So you can see there we've got the colours just looking amazing, and that beautiful gold sheen. And these pads that I'm using are very old, so they're not new ink pads. That's why I wanted to use new sponges for you. So they're not new ink pads, they're very old ink pads, just to show you how juicy they stay and how much gold comes through. So this time I'm going to take some of the lemon and start from the bottom and cover the bottom, and then merge it into this blue, and you'll get the most gorgeous green, almost like hill look, again with the gold running all the way through it. But we've got a full sheet, very simply, of amazing gold sheen and a scene built from nothing. So we could flick water at this and take some colour out and bleach it, but I love this just used like that, very, very simply. So now we want to take some split trees. So I've got a piece of card here, and this has been cut to just short on 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. So as you can see, it's the same size as the background piece, so 5 1/4, 5 1/4. And I just want to use one side of the split trees. So I'm just going to place that evenly in with an even border on 3 sides. So I'm using the side that fits on the left hand. I'm just going to tape that down, and I'm simply going to run that through my die cutting machine. And I'm going to run that through because I want you to see how the finished piece is. So I'm running that through my Kaleido, but you'll find this fits through all your A5 machines and anything bigger than that. So we pop this out. You can see it cuts these two trees out, but leaves this piece here. So again, we could actually cut a smaller piece and slide it in. Look on the background suddenly how they pop. But for this project, what we want to do is to take our scissors and simply cut up, keeping that line to where the cut is, so that we get the right level of balance. So we pop that out and we're left with a piece that's like a sort of U with trees at the one side or at the bottom. So I would just simply pop out the extra little bits that are in there. Here's one I've already done. And then I would take, again, my piece of card, and this time using the dauber that has my lemon on, I'm simply going to pull it from one side to the next. So I'm just pulling down really simply, and you think you're doing nothing, but when we actually look at that, and I'll put it against some black, you can see it tips it all with gold. It's like you've sort of used gilding wax without having to use it, and gives you such a better coverage. So there is our piece done. I then need to take another piece the same size and cut myself the deer scenes in it. So I've taken another piece of card that's 5 by 5, and I will again show you how we do this. So check our measurements, always worth checking your measurements. Yep, so it's just over 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So I'll do the same again. Piece of black card. So you want to cut a perfect square for this. Exactly the same as normal. Then we take our largest die from our deer scenes, and we want to put that in nice and centrally, giving ourselves plenty of base. Again, tape that down and simply run that through your die cutting machine, and it will again cut it in, but it won't cut the sides out. Very similar to the trees. So here we go, we just pop that out. And again here, I just need to take my scissors and finish that line off. But of course what you can do is save the waste and use that as a silhouette. So there are lots of different things you can do, which is why we do it into a square. So I've got my piece cut there, and I do exactly the same again. Bring in my card. This time, let's add a little bit more lemon, work some off. You can use any of the gold inks, but the lemon just really gets the yellow shine, the gold shine. And we're just this time going to drag down from the top. So just dragging from the top. Doesn't matter how much or how little you add, but again, I'll show you that against the white. See how much gold we've got showing there. It's beautiful. And then we simply need to put our card together. So we're starting with our base piece. This is completely dry, but you will find, because there's so much gold in here, that sometimes if you rub your hands over it very hard, some gold will come off. That is how it is. So we're going to start with our trees, and I'm going to add a line of foam tape to the 3 sides that are solid. This will give us the nice definition that we need. Obviously, you could use these techniques within the diorama card if you wanted to use the diorama card base to make a similar version, and that's JND419 diorama. So I'm simply going to reveal the tape on all 3 sides and match that to my background. So we just pop that on either side, and again you're going to cover it with a frame, so don't worry. And there we get our beautiful, and again you could just put a sentiment in there, put a frame on it, you don't have to do anything else. But one thing we need to do is to fill this gap at this edge, because we've got 1 layer of tape. So we need to make sure it's even on all 4 sides. And then we do exactly the same with our deer. So I'm going to put tape on the side, tape on the other side. I'm going to put tape along the bottom. And of course, these pieces are going to stand proud of the back. So I take a piece of tape and double it, because I need them to be double height up. So I've got 2 layers, and I'm cutting this down the center. So pop one piece on my deer and one piece here on this side of the deer. So I've checked where it does to make sure it doesn't match out. Anything that shows on the front, just snip it off, and then we reveal our foam tape. Nice and simple, nice and easy. If we don't support these deer, they will just flop. So we want those to actually stay solid. So again, because it's been cut to size, very easy. Match the bottom corners, put it on, press our deer down, and you can see there that they're standing proud. Nice and simple. So again, what we do need to now make sure is that everything is up to the same level. So take your foam tape and put that around these edges, otherwise it won't be flush. So whenever you're using anything just stuck on foam at the bottom, you need to make sure you support it all the way around. And at this point, if you wanted to, you could add little bits of the dewdrop in there, some of the beautiful Craft Artist Crystal Snow, and add some acetate on the front and make this into a shaker card. But what I'm going to do is add a frame. So I've got a piece here that I've cut to 5.5 by 5.5, so it's slightly bigger. You then take the outside die from the deer scenes, and you would cut that into the center of there to give you your frame. And this is the frame piece that we get when we've done that. And all I've done again is add some foam tape on here, so there's dimension between the bottom of these deer and the frame itself. And of course it's supported by the foam around the other three sides. Try your hardest not to do that. What we do is, if you do that, I've torn it, you pop a poinsettia onto it or something like that, and we just simply take our dots and frame our piece. You can actually see there. I'll just pop a poinsettia on that, but it's hardly noticeable. So anything that shows through, we just trim it out. There's a little bit of black showing. You probably wouldn't notice it, but I would. So there is our simple framed piece. And then card blank, top fold because of the weight. And I've just matted this with 5 3/4 and then of white and 5 7/8 of black mats and layers onto a nice 6-inch card blank. And we put that down. And there we've got two very similar, but each one is different because of the way that the colours have mixed. Deers caught in the sunlight coming up. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John next door and Crafts 2 group on Facebook. Enjoy.